we have this win-win-win for everyone. It is a win-win-win. It is not too good to be true. And if that's your mindset, how bad does something have to be for it to be true? Everyone, the way the real agents of change do this, are compensated and feel good doing the right thing. So this is an example. This was in Rhode Island in 2021. Martin Luther King community got almost $2 million from a piece of real estate. Michael DeShavi is Real Agent of Change number 2. I'm number 1. He's number 2. He's one of our biggest advocates. I've known Michael for 15 years. He was the first person I called when I learned about this 3 years ago. And you'll meet him and others in the group. So that's the end of section 1. We are going to take a quick bio break. I do want to answer any questions that you might have. And I think while we take a bio break, I'm going to show a video, which is our newest favorite story about a nonprofit that was given real estate December last year. The guy needed a tax deduction. It was December 15th. And the way that this works, and you'll understand as we move forward, he got his tax deduction within 10 days. Then the property was put on the market. And when it was on the market, our team called that nonprofit, said, hey, when this real estate sells, you're going to get about $400,000. We want you to be prepared for that. And they said, well, what? How does that work? Can we do more? Yes, we can. So they reached out to their donors and said, look, we don't know how this works, but if you got any real estate, it does. So they got $400,000 for the first piece, $646,000 for the second piece in a 6-month period. I'm going to show you that with our specialized nonprofit. Anybody got any questions or anything you want to ask at this point? All right, I'm going to play this video. It's 11:54. I'm going to come back at 12 and stop the video. And if a question comes up, great. If not, then we will get into the next section. Okay, share. Do you know what they were saying to the, hold on a second. Oh, their donors, do you know? Let me go get it in my YouTube channel. So as long as you're watching, if you go to my, computer, look at that, low battery, 1 second. YouTube. As long as I'm in here, you will notice we have all kinds of content to help you. Got our Real Agents of Change podcast. Okay. We are looking for our success stories. Here we go. It will start playing as soon as we start talking.
sell 13 pieces of property to get there. Here's the interesting part for us. This nonprofit immediately, as this was underway, started marketing gifts of real estate. And now we are under contract to do the second deal for them, which is a residential condominium in Carmel, California, owned by a woman who actually lives in Berkeley and is never going to use this property again. It was gifted to her a long time ago by her mom. It's in a senior community that she is not going to move into. And so she has made a gift to us, and we are going to sell it to somebody who wants to live in this senior community. We have run the math. We have talked to our broker. We have talked to our title company. We know that we need to invest $20,000 to get it ready for the market. And we believe that we are quite easily going to net for this nonprofit $600,000. Here's why this is an interesting story. We didn't know this nonprofit December 1st. Here it is, late spring the following year, and we're about to do $1 million worth of donations for this nonprofit from 2 pieces of donated property.
So the moral of the story, tell people. Tell people. Remember, we had a bit of a warning at the beginning. It's either a blessing or a curse. So it's a blessing when you tell people. Does anybody have a question?
Did anybody have any questions?
Well, you got any input? I know this is your 3rd time to the class with 47 years of real estate experience.
Anybody on the stage have any questions?
Better every time. I keep taking more notes. It's amazing.
Raise your hand if you want to come up on stage and ask a question.
I think what Alan just put up there, is true. Is the cash that's in the net worth of Americans is 3% of their net worth is in cash. 43% of their net worth is from real estate. It's a lot easier for them to give some real estate than it is for them to part with their cash.
Amen. Bo, I would love for you to connect with Barbara Petrella. You guys just message over on the side. I see Kidder is Dave Kidder. That's another realtor who's a friend of Bo's. You guys want to connect with Barbara. Barbara is eXp commercial agent, and also Sam Silver, the one that says takethefunding.com. I want you guys to get to know each other because there's a lot of synergy here, a lot of referrals that can happen. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and jump into section number 2 then, and feel free to.
Sorry, Carrie, can I interrupt?
Sure.
Sorry, I'm sorry if I missed it. How are you? And thank you for this wonderful session. How do we get the book?
How do we get the what?
The book.
The book. Oh.
Yeah, the real estate is hot, fundraising is not.
Actually, if you want to send me either a message here. Alan, can you please put my cell phone number and my email address? And the book is $25 and $5 shipping, and we'll send you our PayPal link. You can go to Amazon to get it, but if you go to Amazon, it's just coming from me anyway. So let's just bypass Amazon, and I'll autograph it and get you a card and all that stuff.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, screen. And by the way, we're going to start doing some a book review as we get the book out to another 50 or so people. We're going to do a weekly book review. There's Sam holding his book up. Bo said he couldn't put it down. So we're going to start reviewing it because it truly is a step-by-step key to what we're doing. Okay.
That, I think, is a good story.
It is a good story, Bruce. Thank you for sharing. Okay, section 2. Without further ado, you're going to learn about the third way. So, third way that a donor can benefit a nonprofit from a gift of real estate. The Real Agents of Change have a team of experts that take this on risk-free. So the nonprofits that are going to benefit, let's stick with our story. We got a church up in Washington State, and we got a condo in Florida. That nonprofit in Washington State never takes title, so there's no risk. There's no out-of-pocket expense. So remember, there's a $200,000 mortgage in this scenario that needs to be paid off. It's hurricane season. They don't have to do anything. They don't even, you know what? They don't even need to know the address. That's how far removed they are. There's capital available to enhance the value of the property. So just like the story we just heard, where the specialized nonprofit, you just met him, Bruce, they came out of pocket $20,000 to make that condo sellable. And there's plenty of capital for that. There's this other thing called bargain sales. You're going to learn about it as we go along today. A bargain sale simply means that if there's a mortgage, if the donor wants cash back, I'm going to say that 2 more times because people always ask this question. The donor does not need to donate the full amount of the property. So this condo in Florida, it's got $1 million appraisal. It's got a $200,000 mortgage, and they say, the donor says, you know what, I love my church in Washington. I love them, but I don't love them that much. I want to get $200,000 in my own pocket because little Billy wants to go to college and I want to take a trip. So a bargain sale is when any money exchanges hands for that property for any reason. Donor receives the full array of tax benefits. So in this third way, remember in that story, that donor that Bruce was just talking about wanted a tax deduction immediately, and he got it within 10-15 days. The nonprofit world receives the maximum donation because Uncle Sam is getting the least amount, so the nonprofit world is getting more than they would the first or the second way. And 100% of nonprofits are eligible for this program, meaning it doesn't matter how big or how small. It doesn't matter where the real estate is in this country and in some cases in the world. And it doesn't matter what nonprofit it is, as long as they are a 501c3 or partnered with a 501c3, because sometimes that comes up. This is the win-win-win way. And let's continue and you'll understand. So first of all, there are 3 key stakeholders in a donation of real estate. First and foremost are the donors. And the donors can be a corporation or private individuals. We would suggest that you start with the donors you've already got. You know, don't worry about the corporations. They don't give as much as the individuals do anyway. So there's donors, there's advisors. So when we use the word advisor, think of it as anyone that would advise someone on real estate. So not only is that a realtor, it is a financial advisor, it is a wealth manager, it is a CPA, a real estate attorney, insurance brokers, any advisor who could advise a property owner that this is an option. And of course, there's the nonprofits themselves, which include public charities, donor advice fund, which you're going to be learning about here in a little bit. So this image here is why I call this the triangle of trust, because all of these folks are working in a trusted environment. Now, the donors are a yes, meaning donors want to donate real estate. One of the things I love about this, keeping in mind that history of all that door knocking and cold calling and expireds and just all of that, talking to people that maybe didn't really need or want to talk to me. It was so good to learn about something that we can talk to people and not sell them or convince them on this. There's no selling or convincing going on. The donors are a yes. They just need to know it's an option. The advisory community is a yes, meaning, of course, when they know that this is an option for them and their clients and their ability to build business and show up as the hero in their community, hell yeah. They're a yes. They want to learn more about this. They want to help facilitate these transactions. Guess what? It is the nonprofits that have been the no to real estate, and for very good reason. They've got to say no. It's too complicated. It's too risky. They don't have the money. They don't have the expertise. They don't want to drift off mission. They've heard of bad experiences. They've got it written in their gift acceptance policies. They are the no. They've been the ones that have been blocking it. And they say things like, you know, we took a gift of real estate a long time ago. We will never do that again. Or they say things like, well, we will accept real estate with these limited criteria, and it's going to take our board 3 to 6 months to decide if it's a good idea. And oh boy, we won't do it if there's a mortgage to be paid off or there's a roof that needs to be put on. And ultimately, they are just a no to most real estate. It is they that has been blocking the market. So, specialized nonprofit, the video you just watched. Specialized nonprofit.
Sorry, I had a quick question.
Sure.
Can we, the accountability of them mainly saying no, can we understand that that's mainly politically influenced? Maybe aldermen and mayors and folks that have these parcels that, you know, they don't necessarily want to let go.
What's the question?
If the no's are politically influenced by the shareholders.
I'm not sure how to answer that. I mean, that's just an individual situation. Ultimately, the reason that they are a no are for all the reasons that we gave. You know, if there's political involvement or whatever, that's a case-by-case scenario, and that has nothing to do with how we do this, if that makes sense.
Got it.
So the specialized nonprofit whom you just met in that video, their mission is to accept real estate of any kind from anywhere, taking on all financial and environmental risks that happen in real estate, and they convert the asset into cash. That's what they do. So the Boys and Girls Club is here to keep our boys and girls safe after school and have after school programs and you know, counseling and all that fun stuff. And if, you know, the American Humane Society's mission is to save the welfare of animals, this specialized nonprofit's only mission is to handle these types of transactions for any other nonprofit. And the proceeds can then be granted to any other nonprofit. Now, this is not a grant that the nonprofit needs to fill out an application for or beg for or try to approve for. This is a grant that the specialized nonprofit makes to the nonprofits that the donor designates, period. So the ROC team of experts, specialized nonprofit that, once again, exclusively, this is all they do, accept gifts of real estate, provide the donor the tax benefits. So even though we're going to go over the tax forms in a minute, you guys don't have to figure all that out. That's what the specialized nonprofit does. They absorb the title and the financial risk. So sometimes people will say, well, what if they take that condo in Florida and a hurricane comes through and demolishes the building? Well, that's their problem. It's a specialized nonprofit's problem. In other words, it has nothing to do with the church in Washington. It has nothing to do with the donor. The donor's already gotten their tax advantage. The specialized nonprofit weighs the risks that they are taking, and they'll contact the insurance company and get reimbursed and all that stuff. They work with the brokerage community, meaning they want to hire a local realtor, preferably one that's been through our class and knows how this works, to sell the real estate. They want to work with realtors all around the country, and they pay a full commission. They don't want to negotiate. They don't want to try to, get you to lower your commission. They want to incentivize you to sell this real estate. And then they grant the proceeds, the bulk of the cash proceeds, to the nonprofits that the donor has designated. Specialized nonprofit doesn't take a fee. They get a piece of the donation on the back end. They keep between 2 and 10% of the donation, and on average, it's 5.9%. So instead of the donor paying capital gains of 28% to the government, specialized nonprofit keeps a small piece on the back end, and they give us a finder's fee for that. So the awakening, non-cash versus cash gifts. Friends, Dr. Russell James, who is a Texas Tech professor, he teaches financial advisors about planned giving. He's been doing this for 30 years. He also wrote the foreword for our book, Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not. He and his group have studied 1 million tax returns from 200,000 nonprofits over a 5-year period, and they have proven that nonprofits who benefit from non-cash assets grow at 6 times the rate of those that only take cash. It is also proven that donors give 3 to 7 times more because they are cash conservative and property rich. So the very first logo that came up as one of those 0.0067% of nonprofits that take real estate, the Nature Conservancy, is one that is leading the charge. And Jackie Franey says, you don't have to go find some fictitious donor out there with real estate. The donors you already have, that's where they are, which also is mentioned by Matt Hunter. He talks about how instead of adding donors, they simply switch the type of asset that they're talking to the donor about, in our case, real estate. So one of our favorite sayings is, do what you do best. Do what you do best and refer the rest. So the nonprofits, what they do best is they promote their cause. They tell people about their church. They invite people to come to the soup kitchen. They promote their cause. They cultivate that emotional connection. We're doing an event here in Sarasota with Easter Seals, and they do a great job. Goodwill, both of them, great job with emotional connections to people. They can then, in turn, share the benefits of the non-cash asset, the gift, the real estate. They just need to tell their donors what the benefits are to them. They can start asking for gifts of real estate, not so that they can facilitate them, but just like credit cards. You go to any nonprofit's website and there's a donate now button. And you can put your Visa or your MasterCard or your Discover or your American Express. You can do your PayPal. You can even do cryptocurrency. There are companies that process that stuff. Same thing here. We're simply the company, the organization, the group that processes real estate. So the specialized nonprofit, what they do best is accept, fix, sell, and grant. Real estate, money. They intervene on behalf of all the stakeholders. They step in to answer the donor's questions, help the advisor, and ultimately handle the transaction for any and all nonprofits. They provide the resources, whether it's funding, whether it's expertise, whether it's, the person that's paving the parking lot. They solve the complexities. If you go to therock.com/donations, which I don't want you to do right now, I want you to stay with me. You can go look at that anytime. You'll see several stories about really interesting, complicated real estate transactions that the average nonprofit cannot handle. They grant the bulk of the net proceeds to other nonprofits. As I've mentioned, about 95% of the proceeds go to the other nonprofits. And what do? Who is this ROC, the Real Agents of Change? We help with systems and scripts and support social media strategies. We are here. The reason that you are here right now is because whether it was you or somebody that invited you, somebody saw social media, an email, a text, a video. We got lots of videos. We are providing the marketing, the promotion, the systems to be able to bring the donations to the table. Now, these are some logos of nonprofits who have actually benefited from gifts of real estate in this way that we are talking about. In other words, they don't have a real estate department. They don't pay a real estate attorney on staff. All of these have worked through this kind of a system. So, for example, Fidelity Charitables. If you think about the 1.5 million nonprofits in this country, if they were all piled up and they made this big pile, and on the very top are the ones that make the most money, do the most good, just bring in the most cash, all the way down to the ones on the very bottom that are outspread wide, that just got their 501c3 license yesterday. The one right on top, like the cherry on the sundae or the star on the Christmas tree, is Fidelity Charitables. They brought in $13 billion last year, and even they don't do their own real estate donations. Even they leverage our team. So it's not a matter of should a nonprofit try to do this if they've got enough resources, etc. No, it's about staying in our wheelhouse. Fidelity Charitables is the largest because of donor advised funds. We're going to talk about that in a minute. They have no interest in trying to figure out real estate. That's why they bring them to the team. So Habitat for Humanity, all of these that you see all over the country, the interesting thing is they don't talk to each other. So Habitat for Humanity here in Manatee County versus Habitat for Humanity in Tampa or Miami or Saskatchewan, they don't talk to each other. So even though they have benefited from gifts of real estate in this way, your local Habitat doesn't know how this works. That's why we are here, to help you talk to Habitat and United Way. And for God's sake, talk to your Goodwill and your Easter Seals. Wednesday next week, we have a breakfast meeting, and we can bring as many people as we want into that Zoom. Remember the warning. This is either a blessing or a curse. Friends, now that you know about this, let your local Goodwill and Easter Seals know that they can sit in on that meeting because it's hosted by their sister organizations. So colleges, universities, public radio, churches, soup kitchens, animal shelters. Berkeley, oh my God, you're going to hear that story in a little bit. Berkeley Humane Society. Love that story. Well, you kind of just heard it. As a matter of fact, sorry, here it is. Berkeley Humane Society. You just heard me explain it, and you heard Bruce talk about it. We're just really driving this home because this is how it works. People ask, Cammie, how do we talk to our donors? How do I talk to a financial advisor? How do I talk to a nonprofit? you tell them a story. And this is the story. The story is that there is a nonprofit in this country that was given some land and they didn't even know what to do with it. They didn't handle it. They didn't even know where it was. But when that land was being handled and they knew that they were going to get about 400,000 from it, they put out a call to their donors and they said, we don't know how this works, but we've been told that we can benefit from real estate. Anybody got any? And the woman raised her hand. And that's why over $1 million came to them in just over a 6-month period. That's how it works, my friends. So why specialized nonprofits were created? Here's exactly why. You see, 3% of our wealth as a nation is in cash. Dr. James and I discussed this specifically 3 months ago, and he said it's more like 2.7%. So 2.7% is cash. 43% is in real estate. Been like this for many, many years. No reason to see it change. Everybody knows you want to be wealthy, you invest in real estate. And that's where even the average American, that's where their wealth is. It might even be just in the house they own, but that's where it is. Yet, this pie chart shows that 90% of what nonprofits are bringing in is coming from cash, and only that 2% sliver is coming from real estate. So 474 billion on average is what nonprofits bring in per year. 9 billion of that comes from real estate. So experts say Bruce Geist, Dr. Russell James, Cammie Baker, the Real Agents of Change, we are all letting you know that 2% that's already happening can easily go to 6.5%. And it looks like this. 2%, 9 billion. 6.5%, 29 billion a year. Not one time, not over your lifetime, not for one industry, all of it. We're looking to raise the 9 billion to 29 billion a year. And the fact is, the only way to give this cash to the nonprofit world is to sell the donation of real estate. And the way that we do it, we have no interest in being for sale by owner or trying to get a bargain basement discount realtor. They don't need to do it at a discount because it's nonprofit. We want to give you a full commission to do it. So Gene Frederick is the granddaddy of eXp. Met with him at his palatial estate in Puerto Rico and did an interview. If you go to theroth.com/EXP, Alan, if you'd like to put that in the chat, you can see that interview that we did. Now, here are the benefits specifically to the donors, to the nonprofits, and to the advisors. The donors are avoiding that capital gains tax. They are qualifying for the full deduction from their adjusted gross income. They are preserving liquid assets. What that means is when we are asking donors to give cash, we are asking them to take that cash out of their pocket that is what is funding their lifestyle, going out to eat, taking the kids to go play putt-putt, buying Christmas gifts. So when we can let them just use that cash for their lifestyle, it's a big benefit to them. They can give from their wealth bucket. This helps to eliminate a complex asset from their estate. It simplifies the asset transfer to the next generation, meaning when you think this a couple of steps out, if someone is 60, 65, 70 years old, they've got 3, 5, 10, 20, 100 pieces of real estate around the country, or even if it's only 2 or 3 pieces, their children, in most cases, want an inheritance, but they don't necessarily want to manage a strip mall in Idaho. This helps them to simplify transferring to their kids. They experience the convenience. Guys, there's one of our other favorite stories. Linda, $25 a year to her favorite nonprofit for 32 years. You wouldn't have thought Linda would be a real estate donor, but Linda heard about this from the team. She had a piece of real estate. It was a cabin in the Poconos. And the main reason that Linda donated it, she loved her nonprofit. She'd been giving them $25 a year for 32 years. But really, it was just, here's the keys, here's the deed, take this off my hands. I don't want to deal with it. Take it off my hands. One of their benefits. They can receive that partial cash payment. So you'll hear us talk about the bargain sale a few times. When it comes to donating real estate, it's either a full out donation. Here's the keys, here's the deed, just like Linda did. Just take it, do with it as you will. Just give me the tax deduction. End of story. Or there's money that needs to exchange hands, whether it's a mortgage or whether the donor wants cash out, whether there's any kind of tax lien or what have you. That's called a bargain sale, because in essence, the specialized nonprofit is buying that $1 million condo at a bargain. And it doesn't matter if it's paying off debt or giving them the cash, etc. So these are some of the benefits to the donor, not the least of which is they can actually leave a legacy. Now you might be saying, okay, all right, I get it. These are benefits that I never would have thought about. I get that. But who would donate real estate? Well, people like this. $129 million in real estate donated last year to the nonprofit world. That's who. And, you know, people like Linda, who just had that one extra property. Point is, it's happening, my friends. 80% do it for altruistic reasons. When I first started working with this specialized nonprofit, they said, you know, Kimmy, there's a lot of people out there that do it for the tax benefit, for sure. But the way that we do it, see, anybody that's going to Cars for Kids and all these other places that they can Google and find, they're looking for tax benefits. But the people that we work with tend to do it because they want their favorite nonprofit to get the proceeds. And remember, because it's $9 billion a year and it's $550,000 per donation, it's happening. It's just a matter of, will it happen for your community? Will you be the voice of reason for them? So either way, what you need to know is these donors want to do it. They are grateful you informed them. They will be eager to learn more. You cannot convince someone to donate real estate. You can't sell them on the idea. And if you could, we wouldn't want to be a part of that. We like knowing that the people we work with want to do it, and they're grateful that we gave them an option. So where do you find these people? Where do you find them? The fact is, you know them, and the people you know knows them. I need to add to this screen. First place you find them, donors that are on the donor list. Why would a nonprofit go try to find somebody they don't even know to donate them real estate when informed? And third place, just to keep it simple for now, as everybody else that will learn about it because you did a Facebook Live, or because you invited them to this presentation, or because the Chamber of Commerce has you come speak about it. So, benefits to the nonprofits. These are all examples of subcategories of 501c3. Like, there's so much out there, friends. 10% of Americans are employed by nonprofits. 1 out of every 10 people is employed by a nonprofit. Deborah LaPlante got together with us back in January, and when she first heard about this, immediately the night after, so notice that your reticular activator is activated. Now you're going to start noticing what's going on around you. She was able to actually start reaching out to churches that she cares about. She says, I can't wait to see the impact from these initial efforts for years to come. See, this is about creating pipelines that start with some simple education. So nonprofits can receive the benefits of gifts of real estate, but avoid the risk and liability. So unlike the second way, where it's all risk and liability, the way we do it, 0. The nonprofit can embrace their donors' best interests. See, these donors are wanting to leave legacy. They're just cash conservative and property rich. Strengthen the relationships with the donors by tapping into their wealth bucket, not their income bucket. Every time a nonprofit does another fundraiser and they're asking for raffle tickets and golf tournaments and to buy a stale cookie from the bake sale, they are just doing what everybody else is doing, begging for cash. Give these donors the option to give from their wealth bucket. They can grow their endowments at 6 times the rate of if they were only taking cash. They can receive 3 to 7 times more from the donors they already have, from the donors they already have, from the donors they already have. And expand the number of major gifts without adding new names, once again, from the donors they already have. And of course, you know, from their realtor and financial advisor friends. But the point is, they want to start with the people that already love them. Now, let's talk about our advisor friends for a minute. Real estate brokers specifically, become an advisor. Everybody knows 10, 12, 15 real estate agents, and they all look and sound the same at the networking event and the Zooms. They all say real estate agent. I'm the best realtor. I give the best service. Reach out to me. I'm the best in the business. Over and over and over. When the realtor can be the advisor to the wealthy, the person who helps people give smarter, the conduit between the community and the causes to create wealth for generations to come, that's a different conversation. Switch the focus to a seller not emotionally attached to the property. If you're a real estate agent, you've been in the business for a year, you've had the situation where you're working with John and Mary and they've got 4 kids, and every kid wants to tell you how you should do your job, and everybody's emotional about it, and everybody wants to tell you to have an open house, and your price is too low and your commission is too high and everything else. See, when that family, when John and Mary donate that real estate to the specialized nonprofit is your seller. They are hiring you, and they're not emotionally attached. They're savvy, and they're giving you a full commission. Now, financial advisors. Real estate is a hard asset that a financial advisor cannot manage, and therefore they make no money off of real estate. When we can show them how easy it can be to move that hard asset, that $1 million condo, we could show the financial advisor how to move that money into a donor advised fund, and they can make money on that. They also can preserve the next generation of clients, because John and Mary have been working with this financial advisor for 30 years. But now little Billy and little Alice, they may just take the money and go someplace else. But when it's all been easily put into a donor advised fund to make it simple to just transfer that wealth, it helps the financial advisor. And ultimately, all advisors and any other businesses. We have a woman in Colorado who is a therapist. She's got nothing to do with real estate or financial advisors or even nonprofit herself, but she works with a lot of nonprofits. Nonprofits hire her to do therapy with horses and things with their clients. She's a certified charitable real estate specialist because it gives her a way to make money while she's making a difference. Becoming proactive. When people say, I'll put it on the website and let's see what happens. We have, one of the nonprofits starts with a P. Anyway, one of the nonprofits, it'll come to me in a minute, put this on their website over a year ago that they can't accept gifts of real estate. But that's all they ever did. They didn't call anybody. They didn't talk to any realtor. They're waiting to react. Reacting versus being proactive. Friends, we want to help you become proactive and reach out and communicate with people. Strengthen those relationships. Gain access to new clients, to new donors. Leverage this marketing. We've got 60 interviews in that YouTube playlist that I just showed you a little bit ago that you can share. Start sharing some of these success stories right away. So, financial advisors. Remember, we picked up our pen and paper about an hour and a half ago when we got started, and we said 65% of major gifts come from financial advisors. Let's talk about our financial advisor friends for a minute and what they love the best, which are the donor advised funds. Now, nonprofits might say, well, wait a minute. I want my church. I want my animal rescue. I want my homeless shelter to give the money. I don't want them going and putting stuff in a donor advised fund. I don't even know what that is, but it's not my fund. That's okay. Stay with me. You're going to learn why when you build relationships with these financial advisors, they already have people with lots of money in donor advised funds, and they could advise some of those funds to your nonprofit. This is the fastest growing public charity in the world. Donor advised fund is a charitable investment fund regulated as a public charity, funded by a donor one time or periodically, meaning it could be one piece of real estate, it could be 10 different pieces of real estate, some business interests, some cryptocurrency, however they want to fund it. It's administered by a qualified sponsor, which I'll be showing you who those are in a minute. It's directed by the donor. So when you think it through, donor advised fund is a fund that is advised by the donor. The donor decides who gets, what nonprofits get the money from their fund. It is an alternative to a private foundation, which is way more complicated and requires way more capital. And it entitles the donor to a tax deduction. So some of these property owners who need a tax deduction right now, maybe they're not really sure what nonprofit they want to give it to. Maybe there's a nonprofit that they want to give $10,000 this year and $10,000 a year for the next 10 years to make sure they don't squander the money. But they can sell this real estate, put all the money in a donor advised fund to get their tax deduction this year and over the next 6 years. Donor can make periodic contributions. They can make grants to other nonprofits, whatever size that they want, any size, any time, to any nonprofit. Donor advised fund. The advantages for the financial advisor. The direction of the charitable account can include or be passed to others, say from the initial donor to the next generation. So once again, if the John and Mary have lots of real estate and they are concerned that their children wouldn't know what to do with it. They've already got life insurance policies. Their kids are already financially taken care of. But they want to put hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars into a fund that can only be given to nonprofits. This is one of the ways they can do it. They retain that next generation of clients because, once again, it's really easy to sign over a donor advised fund and just maintain that clientele. They can earn fees. So assets under management, AUM, fees. This is how a donor advised fund can make a financial advisor money. Contributing real estate to a donor advised fund converts that hard asset. See, we're saying the same thing 2 or 3 different ways to help us wrap our head around real estate's a hard asset. Financial advisor, when they're brought into the mix here, they can help you, broker, real estate broker. They can help you, nonprofit, because they have clients with real estate that need tax deductions and want to be more philanthropic. Now, here are some of the popular DAFs. Fidelity Charitables. They leverage our team as well. These are all names that you recognize, that you've seen around. Maybe you didn't know exactly what it was. American Endowment Foundation. As a matter of fact, there's a group out there called Warrior Rising, and they have a relationship with American Foundation. So do we. So does the specialized nonprofit, because all of these groups do not accept gifts of real estate. Now, they may accept one that is mortgage free and there's already a buyer lined up and it's easy and it's not going to take much effort. But when you go to the rock.com/donations, of those 10 case studies, at least 4, if not 5 of them are related to donor advised funds. Because once again, if 65% of these donations come from a financial advisor, doesn't it make sense that half of what we're talking about came from donor advised funds, financial advisors? So why nonprofits and realtors and financial advisors and visionary leaders, why you are all wanting to become a champion with us? Because we're the only ones, man. We're the only game in town. This is it. You want to learn about this? Welcome. When people say, well, I'll go do some research, well, do it right here. Look, you can learn about donor advised funds. You can Google, the bargain sale, section 170, etc. But when it comes time to leverage real estate for real change, we're the only ones. And we're creating these systems to help find the donations, to handle the donations, to position, partner, and promote, to find more donations. We have the only national database for specialists. This map has grown since this image was taken, but if you hover over the map, it's on our website, you'll see people around the country that are certified. Now, you'll notice that the majority of these are realtors, because the first year, that's what we were focused on. But then we realized, well, wait a minute. People need to know financial advisors that get this. People need to know nonprofits that get it. Connie Myers, we need to get you put on the map. I don't think we put you on yet, and that's a mistake. We need to get you on there, because realtors and financial advisors around the country come here to see what nonprofits can help them and other. So those attorneys, those dog walkers, those business coaches and life coaches and all those people, everybody can be on this map. Champion resources. We have signs. Matter of fact, I just ordered signs. I'm going to physically have some signs in my possession next week. We've got postcards and social media and all kinds of ways for you guys to get out there and let people know that you are a charitable real estate specialist. This image tells a big story. This is right now, 2022. This is not a deserted gas station out Route 66. This is not some land up on top of a mountain with no road to it that someone's trying to unload. This is the kind of real estate that philanthropic, heart-centered, generous people are donating. This is what it looks like. And your nonprofit can benefit, and you can list this kind of property and get referral fees. So I know that section 2 is a long one. As I was going through it, I'm thinking, you know, I think I'm going to have the team break that into a couple of different sections. But anyway, questions, comments, concerns, hallucinations, anything I can get more detailed with for you? All right. Well, it is.
Kimmy, I do have a question.
I know.
Sorry, jumping in on you here.
Yeah.
How do we? You mentioned having being able to have the conversation with, whether it be a nonprofit, whether it be a financial advisor or the like. Who do we tap into for that? Who is the resource? Is there a video? Do you do training specifically targeted at them that we can invite to? What path should we go there?
Let me ask you a question, Nikki. Why would you want to talk to them? What's in it for you? What's your
I'm a realtor here in Maine. I also sit on the board of my church for fundraising, and there has been some discussion there about more of a legacy kind of a donation, and we have recently received one. Somebody put a great deal of money in our account if we can match it. So the conversation is open, and but I had a conversation with my own financial planner several months ago and just asked, hey, what do you know about this? And he was open to having further discussions, but I really didn't know how to take it to the next step.
Good for you. Now notice, guys, I could have given just a blanket statement, but the fact is, it depends. What are you going to say? It depends, right? It depends on, is it a church that you know and love and you sit on their board, or are you wanting to go send an email to 8,000 of them, right? It's a whole different. So, Nikki, for you, what I would say to you is that you have just a personal conversation, letting them know, hey, church members, hey, board members, hey, fellow fundraising committee folks, I found it. I found a way that we can bring in the funding we've been talking about. And so we've got videos. You can send them to therock.com/101. Alan, if you can please put that, I knew you'd have it ready. I want to encourage you and all of you, don't just send out videos and let somebody try to figure it out and think that their mind's going to be blown and they're going to be beating your door down. People are busy. People have priorities. They don't know what they don't know. They don't know what they don't know. So please, in the very beginning, talk to your warm market. You have a relationship with them. You sit on the fundraising committee, so you can let them know, hey, I've got a moral obligation to let you guys know churches just like ours have been getting funded all over the country. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Been happening for 100 years, and I just learned about it. Let's talk with this lady. Let's sit in on a live presentation. So for example, Nikki, this Sunday, September 25th at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, I'm doing a presentation for one of our Real Agents of Change who has a church in California. And they have a congregation that holds about 300 people in the room. And she has let her church know after service on Sunday, we're going to live stream Cammie in, going to do a video chat, Zoom. I'm going to do the 101 presentation nonprofit focused. And she's also inviting, there's 13,000 nonprofits in Sacramento County. And her church wants to help the community. So she's invited other nonprofits to come sit in. She's invited her real estate investor group to sit in. She's invited the donors at the church, other real estate agents, and we are inviting people just like you, sit in, bring your church. Hey, let's sit in on this thing. Let's see what this church in California is doing. Maybe we'll do one of these for ourselves.
Nikki, was there any specific part of this that you were referring to about like how you would bridge it, or were you like just opening the conversation?
But yeah, it's opening the conversation, and I don't feel like I have the language yet. So go ahead, Kimmy.
And you don't, not yet. I'm just giving you a little bit of food for thought. We will help you with that. I also see in the chat, Frida's asking, how do I obtain more training? Great question. You obtain it right here with us. So, you know, when you become a certified charitable specialist, you get certified so you can use the branding in your marketing. You get put on that map that we were talking about, and you get a little bit of help with that marketing stuff. But when you step into being a champion, and let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, guys. We got one more section, and then we're going to get into the details of this. The charitable real estate champions come to strategy calls with me and Alan and others from the team. We role play with you what to say, not from a scripting, here's how you coerce or sell or convince. No, here's some language. Let's play with it together. Let's get comfortable in what you're going to say. Because if you're talking to someone that's heart-centered, like for example, financial advisor, one financial advisor might be at a place in their career where they're looking to leave legacy. You know, they've got a lot of kids, and they're a big brother over at Big Brothers, and they, you know, they're always helping the community. But another financial advisor might just be looking to build their business and wanting to attract a higher net worth client that they can earn commissions from. So when you come in with us, we talk through all that with you to see that's why I asked you, what's your purpose? Why do you care? What are you going to do with this? Because that's really important. We go through the 7 P's from purpose to payoff, and we'll be talking about that a little bit towards the end. Thank you for bringing it up, Nikki.
I had a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, LaDonna.
Is there a stipulation, you know, how long a 501c3 has to be established?
No. And as a matter of fact, people will ask, well, my 501c3 paperwork hasn't come through. And we say, don't wait for that. You know, this is a process. This, as Dr. Russell James would tell you, and as Uncle Bruce Geis over at Realty Gift Fund would say, gifts of real estate don't happen through an email, and they don't happen through a Facebook post. They happen through a relationship. Somebody's going to give you a $200,000 piece of property, or I'm going to show you an example in the next section of a $4.5 million piece of property. That happens through a conversation. So you just go ahead and get the conversation started. Hey, listen, you know, besides doing the bake sales and the barbecues and the golf tournaments, we've learned that we can actually benefit from real estate. So just want to let people know, if you need a tax deduction and you want to see our mission grow, you got real estate anywhere in the country. So you can start talking about it. And the day that 501c3 paperwork is done and you've got a checking account, you can get a deposit. So let's say you're talking to somebody right now, and a month from now, they donate a piece of real estate. And 60 days later, Sam Silver out in California took the referral from you, because that's where the land is, right? And when it closes, the specialized nonprofit can actually hold the $800,000 in proceeds in their donor advised fund. And when that nonprofit has its 501c3, it could be next year. It could be 18 months from now. And then they get the money that came from it. So in other words, we have ways of being able to hold the money until the nonprofit's ready, or the person who's getting their other 501c3 that holds the money for them. So there's a lot of creative ways to get around that. Great questions, guys. Thank you for being engaged. It's 12:57. Let's take 12:58. Let's take a 5-minute break, and we're going to come back at 1:03. If you think of any more questions, I'm happy to go over that. But this next section is going to really answer a lot more questions for you. So we'll see you in 5 minutes.
Yeah, Nikki, I just sent you a message, but we have access. We have a weekly, I want everyone to know this. We have a weekly Zoom every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern time, where we have, it's just an open Q&A for people that have never heard about it and maybe watched the video, or for regular champions who've been involved since day one. We do a lot of role play. We do a lot of like examples. Cammie and I have a lot of experience dealing with the nonprofits, with real estate agents, with financial advisors, and can help you with the language that, works for them. Everybody in their industry has, their own vernacular. I come from the personal training world, and, it's a whole different language than, the financial world or the real estate world. So, but we want to be accessible and help get you up to speed to where you can feel confident. It took me fully engaged deeply a good 3 months till I was really comfortable bringing it up and being able to answer a couple of questions without tripping over myself and looking confused. Because I know, look, I came into this with no real estate experience, and as with a big heart that just wants to help, and that'll carry you a long way, really. If you really care, if you're sincere about your purpose, it's going to show, and it's going to be more important than having yourself all spit and polished. But I've stumbled over it a lot, and got me to the point where it's just doing it, like reaching out to people, talking to people, answering questions, reaching out to another person, talking to them, answering questions, but having it geared towards around what's in it for them. When I talk to the nonprofits, I'm all about listening. You can access a form of funding that you're ignoring right now to your detriment, and I want to just open up this pipeline so that you can access this. When I'm talking to real estate agents, it's more about, hey, two things. Look, you can make full commission, and going forward, after you do list one, think about what that's going to do for your career. You list a property that sells for $1 million, $600,000 of it goes to a nonprofit that you're working with. Now you market yourself as someone who's bringing millions of dollars into your community through your real estate efforts. So, and that's going to separate yourself in a competitive marketplace. Same thing with financial advisors. If I'm a real estate agent, which I'm not, I don't even play one on TV, but if I were, I would find like financial advisors that you can partner with who are open to hearing about how, you would be the real estate side and they would be the financial advisory side, and can have donors that would want to liquidate an asset that a financial planner can't make money off of. Like if my financial advisor can't make money off my real estate holdings because it's not a liquid asset, but if I were to convert it to capital and put that money in a donor advised fund, now I can just decide where to distribute the money into whatever nonprofit I want it to go to, and more importantly, for the financial advisor, they can make money off of that holdings. It's an interest-bearing account they actually manage and can make money off of. And then even better for financial advisors, 90% of the time, a donor advised fund outlives the original donor that creates it. So when their children divvy up my wealth, if I die and my children split my wealth, they're not going to reinvest that money with the same financial planner. Probably they're going to have their own. But in a donor advised fund, that advisor keeps that money for the fund because it was donated by the original donor. So it's just a really good way of putting a good carrot on a stick for you as a real estate agent to bring financial planners to you, that they're going to want to do business with you because of this. It's not like you're doing them a favor. Well, I mean, it's not like they're doing you the favor. You're doing them a huge favor, and that's a key. And these are all things that we go over, the weekly Q&A, the strategy. Once you become a champion, you'll have access to the strategy at 6 o'clock on Thursdays, 6 p.m. on Thursdays. And I say these times, everything's Eastern for us, just so you know. Welcome back, honey.
Hey, babe. So, good stuff. You know, it just goes to show there's multiple personalities, there's multiple versions. You know, what to say to somebody depends on your personality. The good news is we've got people like Sam and Barbara that come in to the trainings, and they are very helpful to share their experience from how they've been doing it. And you know, we're always learning and growing. For example, Alan just came up with about a month ago just that brilliant thing about the credit card processing. When people are so hung up on how does this work, and I've got to understand every idiosyncrasy of it, or I can't talk to my donor. Look, you got a donate now button on your website. Yeah. People can use Visa, MasterCard. Do you know what their credit score is? Do you know how much their limit is? Do you know which card they're using? Are you calling to verify no, there's a credit card processing. Swipe the card, process in the account. Same thing for cryptocurrency. They don't handle any of that stuff. Same thing here. It's real estate processing. Your donor has real estate. They want to donate it. You don't have to handle it. Introduce them to us, and the money will show up in your account. Like, we really have to keep it simple. Okay, guys, it is 1:04. I want to respect everyone's time and bang through this next presentation. And this will either answer a lot more questions for you or give you even more. Either way, we're here as long as you need us to be. So, sharing the screen.
I had a really quick comment, Cammie.
Sure, go ahead.
You know, there's just so many reasons why we step into this sort of niche. But I gotta tell you, the title of the book was what really caught me. Real estate is hot, fundraising is not, because oftentimes I see organizations run around like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to raise funds. And it really doesn't have to be, you know, that traumatic to try to raise funds. So yeah, this is pretty incredible.
Well, thank you for saying so. And you know, when we say real estate is hot, fundraising is not, sometimes people think we mean because of what's going on in the marketplace right now. But real estate, no matter what city or state or year or market we're in, today, 5 years from now, 50 years from now, real estate will always be a better way to fund a nonprofit than any fundraiser, because 3% cash, 43% of wealth in real estate. So we've just simply taken on this gift given by the universe to bring this to the world, to educate people. And it is a pipeline that will live long after we're all gone. And in the book, you'll hear the analogy of bucket carrying versus pipeline creation. Every fundraiser is another bucket of cash. It's another bucket of cash. It's another bucket, just like water. You're thirsty, go get a bucket. But when we can create a pipeline, then that will feed the village for a long time. Thank you for saying so, LaDonna. I appreciate you. Okay. I love it when people are here and they get what we're doing. Section 3, let's get into what qualifies. What qualifies as a donation of real estate, and what are some of the do's and the don'ts in the paperwork? So most questions that I get asked, if you think it out a couple of steps, you can really answer it for yourself a little bit. So The canned answer to what qualifies is, number one, no timeshare. Number two, there has to be equity or there's nothing to donate. And number three, it's got to be marketable, meaning it needs to be sellable. It needs to be something that someone would want to buy very quickly. So the thought of, oh, this is property people want to unload, so they just give it to a nonprofit so they don't have to deal with it. Well, if it was the second way, that might be the case. An uneducated nonprofit might get excited about that 50 acres for free until they find out that it's contaminated and landlocked and all the other things. So the way we do it, the third way, the win-win-win way, here's what qualifies. Examples, anything residential, anything. So there are primary residents. That's why we love showing that image of that $7.5 million house. That's a primary residence, right? It's not something somebody's trying to unload. Second homes like Linda's, the cabin in the Pocono. Investment properties like that 2-family that we saw for $1.7 million to the Martin Luther King Foundation. Any kind of commercial. So side caveat, the average donation from residential is $550,000 to $600,000. The average donation from commercial is $900,000 and up. So could be a multifamily, office buildings. There are just anything, restaurants, anything that is considered commercial. So once again, anything that's not a timeshare. Anything that's not a timeshare. Land can be raw, residential or commercial, could be farms and ranches. Remember, this doesn't have to be real estate in your town or in your state. This is real estate from anywhere in the country that can benefit any nonprofit. And if it's in your marketplace, you list it. If it's not, you can get a referral fee. No timeshare. Now, when it comes to the length of ownership, it needs to be owned for a year in order for the tax benefit to kick in. In other words, the property that's owned for a year is when capital gains and that sort of thing. So at least a year. Let's talk about marketability for a minute, because a property that is unsellable is useless to everyone. And when you think it, so remember, think it out a couple of steps. Specialized nonprofit is going to pay off mortgages. They are going to give cash to the donor as long as there's enough equity left for it to make sense for the nonprofit world. They are going to take on the risk and the liability and responsibility of monthly taxes and insurance, et cetera, et cetera. Why would they take the property that can't be sold? So it has to be marketable. Having said that, it might not be marketable right this moment because maybe, it doesn't have a kitchen that is functional and you can't get a loan on that. Maybe it's a strip mall and it's 70% vacant. And right now it's hard to sell, but if they had that anchor tenant that the specialized nonprofit knows how to facilitate, now it's marketable. It might be that at $5 million, the price tag has it unmarketable because nobody wants to pay that. But maybe when the specialized nonprofit is willing to put it at 4.5 million, well, now it is marketable. So circumstances, seller's motivation, etc., do play into the marketability of real estate. Underlying tax circumstances. When you go to therock.com/property valuation, you'll see that the very first question asked is, what are your intentions? Why are you looking to donate this real estate? We want to make sure that Everything that we're doing is above board. So we just want to make sure that they aren't trying to pull one over on the government, because that's not something that we are interested in. Minimum equity, $250,000. This just makes it enough meat on the bone. There's enough of a reason to do this. Now, remember, average donation, $550,000. $550,000 is the average donation. Therefore, minimum equity doesn't come up as often as you would think it would. Having said that, there are situations when much less equity was available, but maybe the deal was really easy, or maybe there were other circumstances that made it worth doing. We do have a couple of other specialized nonprofits that we can bring deals to that don't require as high of a minimum. So don't let that stop you from bringing it to us. Just know that that's what we're looking for. Maximum size is unlimited, meaning what if it's a $10 million strip mall with a $5 million mortgage and it needs $2 million worth of work? Well, in that case, it's a bargain sale, because the specialized nonprofit is buying it at a bargain for $7 million, but it's worth $10 million. So after expenses, et cetera, there's more than $2.5 million to go to the nonprofit world. They'll do that, right? So it doesn't matter how big it is, they can handle paying off those kinds of mortgages. Here are some documents that are required. Please remember, do what you do best, refer the rest. Do not get hung up in analysis paralysis about the documents. Very, very simple. There's really only 2 documents here, which are the IRS documents, that are documents that you've never seen. So, net gift estimate. From the minute the specialized nonprofit meets with the donor, and the donor is shared all of their options and how this works, etc., they are given 2 net gift estimates. One that shows if you were to do a traditional sale, and I'm going to give you an example in just a minute. A traditional sale, here's the taxes you would pay, here's how much would go to the nonprofit, here are the tax benefits you would have, etc., and here's what it would look like if you did the donation or the bargain sale. Once they decide, yep, this makes sense for me, then that net gift estimate follows through the whole transaction. What if the appraisal ends up being $2,000 instead of $1,000? What if, oh look, there's a $25,000 roof that needs to be put on? In other words, the net gift estimate is always an ever-changing document that keeps everybody abreast of what's going on. The donation agreement versus the bargain sale agreement is the same document. It's the agreement. It's the purchase and sales. It's the specialized nonprofit is acquiring this property. It's a donation agreement if there's no money that exchanges hands. It is a bargain sale agreement if they need to pay off a mortgage or give any cash. Donation disclosure agreement is just like any other property disclosure, in that it's going to talk about what the donation looks like, that there's an appraisal, and that, you know, everybody is disclosing all that they know about the property. I kind of think of this as like bank owned or relocation, from the perspective that now that the specialized nonprofit has it, they're signing the disclosures at listing, just like the bank would, just like the relocation department would. Okay, IRS forms. There's 2 IRS forms. The first one is signed by 3 parties: the appraiser, the donor, and the specialized nonprofit that is taking possession of the property or accepting the donation. This is the form that goes to the IRS that gives the donor their tax benefit. So it's a $1 million condo in Florida. This appraiser is signing, yep, this is the number that I put on it. The donor says, yep, that's what I know it to be. We're going to get $200,000 mortgage paid off. But ultimately, it is that appraised value that is the basis for what we're doing here. And the specialized nonprofit signs it. Notice, Boys and Girls Club didn't sign it. Your church didn't sign it. You as a realtor didn't sign it. That's for all the people who are actually involved in the donation. Now, the second IRS form is kind of a check and balance. So it's $1 million condo in Florida. And when it sells, the specialized nonprofit got $952,048. Well, they fill that out and they sign it and send it into the government so that the government has a way to do a check and balance with what's donated and what it actually sells for. The listing agreement is exactly the listing agreement in your state, whatever that is. Once again, it's like a bank owned from the perspective that now the specialized nonprofit is your seller. Donation bargain sale agreements. We get this question all the time. So how do I know that our nonprofit will receive the proceeds? This document on section or clause 18, I believe it is, lists out who's getting what. So it'll show that based on this appraised value of $1 million, we want 20% to go to the Boys and Girls Club. We want 30% to go to the church. And the specialized nonprofit is keeping 3.8% to handle the transaction. It's all right there on the agreement. Now, I am not a CPA. I am not an attorney. I am not a tax consultant. I'm not a financial advisor. I am just a really smart person who wants to show you an example of what this looks like. Do what you do best and refer the rest. I'm going to refer you to the specialized nonprofit whom you have access to. When you become a specialist and champion, you can meet with them the first, second, and third Wednesday of the month. They have open office hours, and you can pick this apart all you want and ask them any questions you want. I'm just giving you an example because everyone wants to see, okay, what's the difference between a traditional sale versus a donation? So on the left-hand side is the depreciation schedule. This is taking an actual donor, their tax consequences, how it would look for this specific person. These are the numbers that we're pulling to put over into the tax consequence on the next form. So this is where we're getting the numbers from, is this depreciation schedule. So the left hand is if they did a conventional sale and paid Uncle Sam lots of taxes versus a charitable donation. So notice that when they put it on the market and they sell it, right off the bat, there is almost $900,000 going to the government for depreciation recapture tax and capital gain tax. Almost $900,000 to the government that, as a donation, does not get paid to the government. First comparison. Second comparison is the cash benefit to the nonprofit and the cash benefit to the donor. So the nonprofit in this first example is only getting 3.3 million because that 900 something went to the government. Versus over here, where that same nonprofit is getting 4.1 million, or a 26% increase because the government didn't get their share. And then the cash benefit to the donor, this is talking about when they can write off the appraised value as the basis for their tax deduction off their adjusted gross income. Because of the way the traditional sale is going on, the donor has less of a benefit. they are not able to write off as much. In this scenario, they're only writing off that 3.3 million because that was the actual donation from a conventional sale. Whereas over here to the right, they're actually writing off the full 4.5 million. So they are actually writing off 26% more. So the total cash benefit of a traditional sale of this $4.5 million property is 4.8 million. This is what we call charitable leverage, because now this same property has increased by 29.7% value, because this is a bigger benefit to the donor and to the nonprofit by 29% overall. So I'm going to stop here for just a second. And if you have a question that I can answer, I will. And if I can't answer it, I'm going to suggest that you speak to a financial advisor, or you come speak to Realty Gift Fund about this. But I also want to finish this comment by saying, if you get hung up in analysis paralysis, you're never going to do anything with this anyway. Do what you do best and refer the rest. As a real estate agent or as a nonprofit, we don't need to understand how this works as much as the financial advisory people do. Question? All right, we've only got a couple more slides. And if you do want to ask anything about it, just let me know at the end of this section. Okay, preliminary property evaluation. This is basically what our property evaluation looks like. If you click on it online, it looks a little different. This was a printed handout version that we had. But what we want you to see is the very first question: what are your goals? Why do you want to donate this property? What is your intention? See, this is how we know that 80% of people have altruistic intention. They might write something here like, well, my father was a veteran and I watched how the veteran causes suffer and struggle. I've been blessed. I want this property to go help veterans. It might be, my church saved my life and I want my church to be able to save other people's lives. And it might say something like, well, my brother's an appraiser and I think my brother will give me $1 million appraisal, even though we can only sell it for 300,000. Nope, we're not doing that. So that's why we ask this question. And then of course, just the basic questions that any of us would ask a property owner. How much is it worth? Do you have any outstanding debt? How much do you think it would take to get the property up to selling standard, etc. This is really the first step to evaluating a donation. But we have to talk to people to even get to this point. So a lot of the times people want to know, how does this work for the donor, and what does the evaluation look like, and who does the evaluation? We want you to understand that, but we also want you to take a big step back and know, before we get to this form, this is all about warm, heart-centered conversations. Now, this is what we call the roadmap. This is an example of one simple way to explain that which we've just gone over. And I'm sharing this with you because someone asked me a couple of years ago, do you have a simple way to explain what this looks like? And so we created this. And as you can see, Michael DeShavi is on here. This is branded for him. God's Love We Deliver is a nonprofit that he likes to support. So I'm going to show you how simple it is to explain the basic concept. And as a champion, when you come to the trainings and the strategy calls, and you have us at your avail to ask questions, etc., we go through classes to teach how this works. So, number one, there's a donation. Now, how that donation got here, why that person is donating. Was it a donor of God's love we deliver? Was it a friend of a financial advisor? That's a different conversation. This is just explaining the process. So number one, property donor. 80% do it because they love their nonprofit. 20% do it for the tax advantage. But now that they're here, number two, it gets donated to the specialized nonprofit who takes title and assumes all the risks. They pay off mortgages. They handle the IRS documents. They take on the responsibility of this property. Number three, now that the specialized nonprofit has the property, hot potato, got to get rid of it. So they list it with a real estate agent. In our world, they list it with a certified charitable real estate specialist because they know how this works. So number three, it's listed just like any other listing in this country. Only now, when it sells, we go down to number four. Now, proceeds from this gift are granted to the nonprofit that the donor wants to have it. Whether it's one nonprofit, divvied amongst 3 nonprofits, 10 nonprofits, maybe it's put into a donor advised fund, whatever the donor wants done with it. But the point is at number 4, the money is granted out. And then number 5, for people who are working with us, we suggest cause marketing campaign, social responsibility campaign. Let the media know what's going on. Take a picture in front of that property. Get interviewed. Let people know, hey, when 123 Main Street in Chicago sells, there's $872,000 going to the soup pantry in Philadelphia or wherever. Like, promote, position, partner, promote, financial advisor, nonprofit, real estate agent, everybody, social media, email, let people know. Because when you do, you rinse and repeat. And now that it's out in the news, it starts over at number 1. Somebody else finds out that that soup kitchen can take donations of real estate, or that that real estate agent is a certified charitable real estate specialist. When we did our book launch in Sarasota and we were interviewed and we showed up in the Business Observer, Goodwill saw our positioning, saw our story. They reached out and they said, hey, we have 200 nonprofits that we would love for you to teach about this. That's why we're doing that breakfast with them next week on the 28th. So the roadmap is just to show, number 1, there's a donor of real estate. Number 2, specialized nonprofit takes title and all financial responsibility. Number 3, real estate agent gets a full commission to list that donation. Number 4, when the property is liquidated, the nonprofit world gets the proceeds. Number 5, tell people. So we've got one more section where we're going to talk about how we support you, what kind of training you can get, scripting, emails, blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about that in just a minute, but I just want to see if anybody has a question. Alan, anything you want to add to the conversation?
I don't, only because when we do the masterclass, there's so much information. I would just like to add my own little about the class itself. The first time you watch it, you're not going to get it all. The second time you watch it, you're not going to get it all. The third time, you're going to keep getting new stuff every time you watch it. So I feel everyone that it's really interested in really getting this down will be highly served to be able to repeat this, watch this whenever you get a chance. Once you become a champion, or a specialist, you have access to the recorded version, but there's nothing like the live presentation. It took me, like I said, about 3 months to really take it in, digest it, and make it a part of me. There's a process. And it starts out feeling like you're in a stream. Oh, I get it. It's simple. And then it becomes a river because you realize there's more moving parts and there's more options or more opportunity. And then that river opens up to a gulf. And then you're like, wow, holy moly, this is much broader. And I can talk to even for-profit organizations. And then you're out in the sea now and you're like, this is way bigger than I really originally understood. And that's how it just seems to grow like that. And I just want to impart that repeat, wash, rinse, repeat, like watch the 101s, attend the master classes, stay engaged with us, show up on the Wednesday Q&A, show up for the Thursday strategy sessions. I mean, it's all development. It's all development.
All right. Well, if there's no questions in the essence of time, it is 1:30 and I want to finish this up in the next 10 minutes for you guys. So I'm going to go back and share screen. This is about what does it mean to be a specialist and a champion. So we want you to pick your path. We know that if you're here and spending this much time with us, that you have an interest in doing something with what we're talking about. So Dr. James, as we have mentioned, has written the foreword for our book. And sometimes I even play the recording of him reading this for us. So when you get the book, Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not, one of the things I always tend to forget is that it's also got the recorded version in it. So I read the book and I've got Dr. James reading his introduction, and he says it perfectly. The numbers are clear. Transformational philanthropy comes from major assets like real estate, but numbers aren't the problem. The problem is action. People can understand the idea and nod their heads at the numbers, but then nothing. They don't act. The disease is inertia and fear. The cure, you're reading it right now. You're in the class right now. This is the cure to that inaction. So, you know, when we talk about being a specialist or a champion, specialist is a special knowledge. You've just learned a lot of that knowledge right here, but a champion is someone who's actually taking action. So to become a specialist, it's really simple. You've taken this master class. As a specialist, you get access to the recorded versions. We've got a couple of versions of this master class recorded in an online portal. You can watch it anytime you want to spend 3 hours hearing about it again. So you've got the online version of the class. You become certified. You take a test based on the information you just learned here. And when you get 80%, and I've never seen anybody fail yet, it's pretty simple, but you know, you had to have been in the class to know it. You become certified. Then you're featured on the national database that we have talked about so that you can start to be found as a charitable real estate specialist. And you get access to the specialized nonprofit 3 times a month. The first, second, and third Wednesday of the month, they do what we call open office hours, where you come and talk to them about any and all things charitable gifting of real estate. I'm going to actually take you over. It's $400 for the annual membership. I want to show you where to go to do this. So you'll notice here, therock.com/store. Alan, if you want to put that in the chat, please. When you come to the store, the master class, some people don't want to take the time to come live. They bought the master class. It's $47 to buy just the class and not come live. But don't worry about that. You've already taken the class. When you become a specialist, the recorded version of the class is part of what you are purchasing. So when you click on Learn More, you'll see what I just mentioned. Office hours, map, get certified. You click here and you can invest $400 for the year. Now, let's talk about Champion for a minute, because this is where we start to work with you, to take your hand and teach you. So I want to go through a few different topics that we go over in the Champion package that also includes social media, Zoom background, stuff like that. So the 5 keys is a whole training of its own, talking about your warm market versus cold market, the diamonds in your own backyard. So back to Nikki's question about how do I talk to so-and-so? There's a lot of trainings about how to talk to so-and-so. Research, reach out, relationship build, never be alone or unknown again. This is about how to reach out to people before you even get on a Zoom or go to a nonprofit or go to a networking event. We talk about how to set intention. So before you pick up that phone, before you walk into that nonprofit, before you go to that networking event, how do you set your intention? Pay attention to what you're saying, your body language, and create the retention of all the things that you're looking to acquire here. Do what you do best, refer the rest. We talk about how to leverage these resources. And by the way, friends, Goodwill and Easter Seals next week on the 28th, this is what we are really bringing to our champions to leverage this resource. We have really positioned ourselves as the real agents of change to the point where these big organizations are asking us to come speak. You take advantage of that. You have your nonprofits come sit in on that. That's how you leverage the resources. How to start conversations. Big question. 4 S's. Story, story, story. Stop talking. Share a story with people. We explain to you how to do that. How to share with them what you learned about today. Heart, head, hands. Talking to people from your heart. So often we start talking with our head and statistics and stuff that people aren't even hearing if you don't start with your heart. There's so many different topics. Don't confuse people. The seed analogy. Guys, we're planting seeds. Some people need a tax deduction right now before the end of this year, period. And some people are seeds that need to be planted for them to hear about this 2 or 3 times or come to a presentation. That's okay. We help you with that. We are going to help you to build your net web of net wealth. My first book, Mingle to Millions, we talk about net web. Top 10 purposeful, profitable promotion partners. The fact is, this is the biggest, best, boldest social impact campaign ever. You can get 10 people in the real estate industry. You can get 10 people in the local business outside of real estate. You can get 10 people that either love veterans and help veterans or animals. Senior care. Oh my God. The campaigns that we are putting together to get in front of the senior care professionals is outstanding. Where to find the property donors? Where do you find these people? How do you talk to them? Who are the whales you want to know? Who are the people in your marketplace, whether it's regional, local, national, or worldwide, that would help your business or your nonprofit take off? Leverage this as a way to start those conversations. We do trainings on how to do those 101 presentations. So therock.com/101, all 4 of those presentations on there, you'll gain access to them, and we'll teach you how to do the presentations yourself. Top 10 questions and how to answer them. Alan, if you can put in therock.com/FAQs, those are some of the top questions that we get all the time. There's an interview there with me and Dr. Russell James, with myself and Bruce. But we want to help you understand how to handle the top 10 questions you're going to get. Alan and I just did a video last week, warm introduction versus awkward referral. Stop referring people. Stop sending a phone number. let us help you make these warm introductions so that you can get these donations of real estate happening. How to leverage this to recruit. If you're a real estate company, you know, we have a lot of eXp agents, but it doesn't have to be eXp. If you're building a real estate company, we'll teach you how to leverage this to recruit. If you're in network marketing, this is a great way to recruit. If you're a nonprofit and you want to bring in more donors and more volunteers, let's talk about it. So all these signs that we're having created, that you see the pictures, the picture with me holding the sign, you can gain access to these. You can get them created. You'll have the licensing agreement to be able to have those made if you like, postcards and social media and just different champion resources. And the 7 P's from purpose to payoff. We're going to be doing this workshop. I think we should do it once a month. Do it on a Saturday and just have everybody come together to learn about how this all plays out, your purpose, their purpose. Guys, this is all about your mindset, the language that we're using, what's in it for the people you're talking to. Remember how I talked about the financial advisor could be heart-centered and looking to leave legacy and help children, or she could be just money hungry and wanting to build her business. Either way, we can help her, but we need to know what her purpose is before we talk to her. Positioning, how are you showing up in the world? Partnering, promoting. Look, we've just got a lot of ways to help you understand how to create influence, impact, income. This is a $597 value. Last year, I was actually doing this program for $597 with people, but this is just an extra added value for being a champion. And it's $97 a month to be a champion. Now, you got to be a specialist first. So it's $400 for the year so that you have the licensing in place to use the trademarks and the logos and be known as a certified charitable real estate specialist. And if that's all you want to do, that's cool. You can figure it out on your own. But with the champion, we are helping you. We have trainings on Thursday live with me. We're doing trainings on Tuesday. So it's $97 a month. And if you want some bonuses, if you want to do the $997 for the year, not only do you get 2 months free when you do it that way, but you also get a personalized therock.com / in this case, this is Barbara Petrella. So therock.com / Cami Baker. You can go there and see that. There's a whole slew of them, but you get a personalized Rock page and it includes an updated bio. Guys, every time someone sends us their bio, it is horrendous. It has to be gone over and corrected and spelling and just all that stuff. So that's a $200 value right there, having the team go over your bio. But anyway, it includes your updated bio, 2 versions of that roadmap that I showed you with your headshot, your information, etc. And if you're a nonprofit, you can have that roadmap made with you over at number 4 so that you can share it with your donors if you want. Other bonuses include when you are part of our organization, I'll do an interview with you. So the Real Agents of Change podcast. And when we do this interview, what this bonus is saying, we'll even create these different types of images that you can use for the different social media to promote your interview. And you can pick from a selection of backgrounds to get your Zoom created for you. So that's part of the personalized package as well. You also will get an autographed copy of the book. So the book is $25 and it's $5 shipping and handling. But if you do the $997 annual champion, then I'll send you the book for free, autographed. And I'll also do a one-on-one 30-minute strategy session with you to really understand, before you start talking to people, before, you just say too much or too little, let's have that chat together. So once again, oh, and the cause marketing campaign. So all those flyers we showed you earlier of all those for-profits and nonprofits that I was working with long before I knew about charitable gifting of real estate, we used to call them cause marketing campaigns. And I used to sell this thing all day long for $9.97. And in this campaign, these are the different topics. And even though I'm not encouraging you to go get an event space or go find a golf course where you can do your golf tournament, there is a lot of really pertinent information here about who to talk to, what to say, how to say it, how to leverage what you're doing for the nonprofit world to build your business. Been doing this for years. It's just that now we do it through leveraging gifts of real estate. So this, Alan, I should have you watch this. You would really enjoy this whole campaign, and it's free. It's a free bonus when you do the full champion package. So it's really simple. If you are charitable real estate specialist, you're certified, you're on the map, and you can come and meet with Realty Gift Fund 3 times a month. If you want to add on top of that, all of our strategy and systems and support with social media and role playing with me and getting all those extra topics, etc., it's an add-on of $97 a month or $9.97 for the year, and you get all those personalized stuff for your campaign. Questions, comments? If you want to, let me put my cell phone number. Lots of times people want to ask me a personal question, and I'm happy to do that. Happy to jump on and text. You can text me and let me know you want to talk about it. Sam or Barbara or Bo, you guys have anything to add for our new people?
How are you?
You've been with us a little while.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Cammie?
Sam is usually doing something with Clubhouse and other things in the background. Does anybody have any questions over there, Sam?
You and Alan are just the rocks of the rock. We're just the pebbles.
We are creating CE course, and the first state that is getting approved is in Florida. And Thursday this week makes 90 days since I sent it into the state to get it approved, and they say it takes 90 days, and boy, are they waiting the full 90 days. And I'm on pins and needles to get my approval. Start doing this last year, but I found out that I can actually, now that I've done the heavy lifting and the hard foundational stuff to create the CE class, it'll be pretty simple to get it approved in other states. So we're also looking for partners who want to teach this in other states. You don't have to be a realtor to teach. As a matter of fact,
Dave Kidder, speak up. That's you.
Well, we've got a woman out in Colorado who's not a realtor. She's not a financial advisor. She's not a nonprofit, but she wants to leverage charitable real estate to get in front of hundreds of nonprofits because she does therapy and stuff and they need her help. So what better way for her to be seen than to actually teach this class and just meet hundreds of, I mean, I even see it as us doing the charitable real estate CE class at the nonprofits. You know, imagine a church that wants to spread the word about charitable real estate. They could host a class where the realtors are getting 3 hours credit for being there, and they can have 30 realtors in their church, not only learning about this, but seeing the church and meeting them or the veteran group or the soup kitchen. So I could go on and on about it. I just want you guys to know these are things that we're adding that we need people around the country to help us with. I can do Zooms till my face falls off, but I need people out there that want to do it too. So,
Cammy, this is Barbara.
hey, Barb.
Hey, I agree with everything that has been said, and
Hey, Cammy. How are you? I'm fantastic. I was talking to a gentleman. I'm trying to get him to get on this. He does yachts, yacht training for kids. Teaches kids how to be yacht captains. And I was so excited. And he's got somebody that's got a multi-million-dollar property that we're gonna definitely hook up and get that thing sold for him. Get the book. Get the book. I got the book. I got the book. TakeTheFunding.com. TakeTheFunding.com. All right. Thank you so much for watching Charitable Gifts for Real Estate Masterclass. This is your captain, Sam Silver, eXp Realty, 661-621-5340, or you can go to my website, samsilverhomes.com. If you want to look at all my social media, go to www.sam, capital S, 10k.com. Thank you. I appreciate all of you, and we will catch you on my next stream. God bless. Take care.